We are here for Week's Goal Line Reports, episode 10. Double digits. We started this summer and we've worked hard and we're really starting to get somewhere. So I think this is one that we're happy to see here today. I think it's kind of a milestone for us,
Yeah,
the first of many.
I mean,
Um,
we just hit 50 episodes or like 50 videos. I mean,
yeah, to get there, especially this time of the year where the
there's usually not football.
yeah, desert of football news and events. So we're almost into August, so we're about to be the preseason games, start of the NFL season, college football. So a lot of stuff that we'll get to do here.
Yeah, so I feel like I've done a lot more with this stuff than you have. Like I know that you're a kind of NFL, NCAA kind of guy, but I prefer alternate football leagues, and that's what I bring to this. And I think summer and spring is when that really shines. I do love the NFL, and I feel like you're better when it's active. But this is my time of year. But I feel like we need to kick it off with one of my favorite leagues, the CFL. So the CFL just had its week, and it had an amazing game. I think this is week 8 of 21. So it kicked off with the Edmonton Elks going to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So this was a big game. The two best guys in the West.
Yeah, that's what we said last week. This was
Yeah,
going to be the best matchup, and
I
it
believe it was true.
yeah, I think it really was. And for those of you who may not follow the CFL as closely, Fajardo, or I think that's how you say
Yeah,
it.
Cody Fajardo.
Yeah, he played at Nevada back in the day. So if you remember some of those Mountain West games, they were definitely pretty entertaining that he was in back then.
Yeah,
There was a small window where I played some college football fantasy leagues, and he was
yeah.
on my roster. So I definitely remember him, and he really showed up.
Yeah, so this game had ended with the Elks getting a 57 or 58-yard field goal to win it 36-34 with a walk-off field goal. So usually you can see a lot of field goals in the NFL, but from what I've seen in other leagues, they usually don't kick field goals because most of the kickers are very inaccurate. But this guy nailed a 57-yarder.
That's huge.
Yeah, I think most NFL kickers would disagree, but that is massive, like in the
Yeah,
CFL.
even in the NFL, if you're hitting it from 50 or beyond, that's a difficult field goal. So I think even then they would give him credit for that. But yeah, so that was the big game of the week, I would say. Um, Elks, what's their record now?
So I believe they're 6-1, and on top of the league, I think the only other guy that's close, they might be 6-1 as well as Montreal. But the Rough Riders fell to 4-2. I do believe they're gonna keep being one of the best. I think that will be the Western Final. I think they will make it to the finals.
But the Elks giving themselves a little bit of breathing room, a little distance between themselves and the Rough Riders.
So then, going to the second game, the Calgary Stampeders went to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So going into this week, I said that the Blue Bombers are way worse than their record at 4-3,
You
and
did.
Calgary is way better. Or they were 4-2, and Calgary was 2-4. And I said Calgary gets a massive win. And what do you know? 52-30.
52
Calgary
points.
beats the tar out of the Blue Bombers.
They put it on them.
So I've watched this, like every game basically, the highlights. No team has scored more than 50 points other than Calgary, and they've done it twice. Calgary has been pretty lackluster. They're either really good or they're really bad, but they're the only one that's stacked on 50 a 50 burger, and then they did it again.
Yeah.
And Winnipeg, I don't believe that they're that good. They'll get a few more wins in here, but I don't think they're that good. And then moving on to the second game, or the third, I got this one wrong. So I said Lions win it, but this was before Rourke's injury. And Rourke, him being out of that game, it was massive.
Yeah, the Lions struggled.
It was,
Only 12 points total there.
yeah, it was a pretty bad game, and it was at home too. The Argonauts went to the Lions and beat them up 26-12, and one of the most boring games I've had to watch. And then finishing off the week, the Hamilton Tiger Cats went to the Alouettes, and what should have been a big win looked like it could have been a Hamilton win for a while. It was 18-17 going into the 3-minute warning, and the Alouettes just roared back and ended up winning 31-18, I believe.
Yeah, 31-18. But yeah, the Tiger Cats they had an 18 to 17 lead, like you said. So it was right there within their grasp. But the Alouettes rose to the occasion, and when it mattered most, they took the lead and then added to it. So they come out on top again.
And I'm still new to the CFL. I think we both are. And I picked the Tiger Cats. I was excited to see what they are like, but they're kind of feeling like the Aviators a little bit. They got the talent there, they just can't win. And I feel like I've come a little bit with just bad teams. Aviators, Rams, Tiger Cats. I mean, you're worse. You're way worse. Um,
But yeah, Tiger Cats showing to not be the best choice
I
there.
I don't quite remember your predictions. I don't know if you do, but I ended up finishing 2-2 with my losses coming in the Elks Rough Riders game where I said Rough Riders pull off a win, in the Argonauts Lions game where I said Lions win.
I'm not sure.
I might have to
I
go
know
look back at it.
I think I called the Blue Bombers to win, so I think I got that one wrong. But I'm not sure
Yeah,
who
you
I
said
called
that.
for the other
You
ones.
said Alouettes, Blue Bombers, Rough Riders, and Argonauts.
So
So
2-2 as well.
yeah, that's pretty
Um,
decent.
but I think one thing to note is that the games there was a degree of suspense that any team could win when these teams matched up because Ottawa had the week off.
Yeah,
So if there's a game Ottawa's in, like you could pretty much lock in a win for
I
the other
mean
team,
Ottawa's been in every single game like they've had. They've only lost by a little bit.
but they've lost each game.
Yeah.
But this week they had it off
I do believe they had like a double digit lead over Winnipeg.
and then
And they
lost.
lost. Yeah.
So, but yeah, they had the week off. So these teams, none of them had the advantage of playing Ottawa. So it was all, I think, more
I
of a battle for each team, and
I mean, you really with Rourke down and Bo Levi Mitchell down, Hamilton and BC were basically guaranteed wins. As long as you could handle the defenses, it's pretty easy to outbeat the offenses.
yeah.
But then moving over to week 9 because we don't want this segment to take too long. Um, the Lions play the Blue Bombers. So who do you have that?
I think the Blue Bombers bounce back. I
I
think
do believe that's true.
that they've had their inconsistencies, but I think that they're just better all around than the Lions. I don't think the
Yeah,
Lions are able to outscore them.
I do believe that's true. I think the Blue Bombers pull off a bounce back win. And then to the second game, the Alouettes and Red Blacks play. So I do believe we're on the same page here again with the Alouettes.
Yeah, Alouettes, like we said,
Alouettes
they're
all
in
the way.
running for the best team in the league. So I think the bigger question in this matchup would be how much do they win by, more than whether they win or not.
It is a division rival, and I don't believe these teams like each other very much. Obviously, with it, Ottawa and Montreal. So we've agreed on both games. So do we agree here? Stampeders, Tiger Cats. I have stamps.
Yeah, yeah. Calgary, I think, especially with the way they showed up last week, I think was it 2 weeks in a row they lost to Montreal? Is that who they
Yeah.
had played? So I think, you know, bouncing back last or this week, beating the Blue Bombers, I think they'll continue that with another win over the Tiger
And that
Cats.
would move them up to an even 4-4.
Yeah.
Um, and then the last game, do we agree here? I have Rough Riders.
So this is interesting because we talked about this being the game last week, that was game of the week, and then here they are playing again the best two teams in the West, the Rough Riders and the Elks again. And then, like you said, do the Rough Riders get revenge, or do the Elks just prove pure dominance by winning both matchups? I think it's hard to beat the same team twice. Um,
Montreal pulled it off, but they were both it was very close, both games.
I'm gonna go with the Elks here.
All right, well we disagreed on that. So I want to see your game of the week before we go, because I have Alouettes Red Blacks. That's my game of the week. Because I do believe Red Blacks can keep it moderately close.
I think the Rough Riders Elks will still be game of the week. I think the Alouettes probably win by 14, over Ottawa. Is my thoughts on that. So normally we try and have, and I think we'll see more of this as we get into the seasons with more news, um, more NFL talk.
Yeah.
Right now, there's not a whole lot to talk about that you're not already familiar with. Like there's contract extensions going on, new record amounts that players are getting, and off-field issues. But a lot of that isn't really, I think, what I'm interested in talking about, and probably not you either. So we'll kind of skip over that. I think we have a choice here. Do we want to talk the European football, or do we want to jump in with our tight end list that we have?
I mean, keep keep some retention in here. We can just go to tight ends.
Okay, all right. So we've talked quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. So the next real skill position on the offense
I've won every single
that
list, by the way.
that's fun to rank is the tight ends, and I don't think you have one of those lists.
Yeah, I have.
But yeah, so we're gonna put this ranking together, and I think we're gonna try and be a little more efficient with our time because we don't want this to be a 30-minute segment. Um, but yeah, let's jump in and touch on who we have for our tight ends. So number 10, who do you have?
So yeah, I start every time because I'm the best. So at 10, I have Travis Kelsey. So Travis, he's kind of fallen off. He's not as good as he used to be, but I still believe he's a solid tight end. And I think there's a significant drop off from the everyone below this. Like everyone that I'd rank below Kelsey, they're way worse than Kelsey. Maybe I'm missing someone, but I do believe that's true, and I think Kelsey can still pull in some yards.
Yeah, tight ends, it's a little different. There's different tiers, but you don't have 30 great tight ends. You don't even have 20, so it's more of a select group. For me, I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts here, a guy who really came into the league and set the bar really high and had this expectation that he could be, the best in the league. It hasn't always been the case, but I think there's a lot of skill there. I think he's in a good position this year, and I think, we're going to see a lot from Pitts where he's one of the better tight ends this year. So I've
Yeah,
got him there at number 10.
I mean, he had the fantasy game. Um, so I do believe that's a reason why I have him a little higher. So moving over to my 9 spot, I have Mark Andrews. So, Andrews, he's found himself in an interesting group of guys, the recent years. I mean, Hopkins and Likely just left, but he had Hopkins, Likely, Flowers. I mean, Henry might even catch some. Bateman. There was a decent group of guys around him, so he didn't get a lot of targets. Um, but with a little less cluster in the room, I do believe he can get a decent amount of yards. I do believe he is still one of the best tight ends. He's getting he's getting up there. He's kind of old now, but I think 9 is the right place to put him.
Yeah, I actually have him as number 9 here too. I think he's a little older, but I think with likely going to the Giants, I think that opens up more space for him where he's going to get more of the targets. He's got, rapport with Lamar, so they
Yeah,
have familiarity with each other. He's a good end zone target, so I think that we're going to see a good season from him as well. And with a lack of really excellent wide receivers, outside of Flowers, I think that he'll be one of the main beneficiaries there
yeah.
too.
So gonna move to 8. So you had him at 10. I have Kyle Pitts at 8. Interesting. I think that's his number actually. But I have him 8 here. I think he's gonna get more touchdowns than usual. I think he's gonna get more yards. I think he's steadily been growing, and I think this is his big breakout year. People have been saying that for years, but I haven't said it yet because I haven't been here for years. So Kyle Pitts gonna get a breakout year here.
Yeah, he is number 8, and I think that is kind of the guy that a lot of people have been talking about every year that he's gonna exceed expectations, and just hasn't quite done it. But I think the Falcons are an interesting team. They've got some good pieces, some fun players to watch, and so I think that there'll be opportunity for him uh, to uh, to get some open space and see if he could take advantage of it. So I think that's a good call for you here. I think it's fitting for him to be top 10. I think he's earned that. For me, I'm going to go with Ferguson. I think that the Cowboys tight end there, I think that he really showed what he could do last year. Just a steady guy that's got, good hands and
Yeah,
can get first downs and can get the ball up the field. May not be as big like as many big plays, but I think there's consistency there. I think with the way the Cowboys play, that he's going to get his targets, his catches, his touchdowns. And I think when you take a step back at the end of the season, it's all going to come together
yeah.
to really show a very productive season.
All right. Well, do you believe we're at 7 now?
Yeah,
So I have Colston Loveland. So some people would rank him higher. I think this is the right place. I'd say he's really got that clutch gene. Like he had that game winner against Bengals, which really shocked me. I couldn't believe it. He's got that he seems to show up more in time of need than regular. So I think seven's the right place. He's young. I think he's one of the best up and coming tight ends. And I think he can definitely run this league for a while when it's just him and a few other guys. I'm excited to see what he can do next year.
yeah. I think that he really has shown enough that rookie season for there to be a level of excitement for that to be warranted as he comes into the new season. For me, my number 7 is Laporta with Detroit. I know he got injured last year and
Yeah,
that kind of set him back. But I think when the Lions are clicking, when their offense is moving, when they're making plays, that Laporta is a big part of that, and he's one of the guys that benefits the most, and it makes his share of big plays, big catches, and looks good out there, and really takes the Detroit Lions to another level when he's playing. So that's where I have Laporta on my list.
I have Laporte at 6. So I am a Lions fan, so I might have a little bias, but with you ranking him one below me, I think I ranked him about as good as I should have.
Yeah, yeah, pretty fair there.
The Lions have a stacked room. Like they just got two guys from the UFL, two guys that I've followed very closely in the league. They got a few more guys. They got Almon Ra, Jameson Williams, to Slaw, who only catches touchdowns, and they got Laporta. And even Gibbs can get a few catches in there.
Yeah, he does get several. Yeah.
So I do. This is definitely a great receiving room, and I think Laporta's found his place as that go-to guy. When him or Tesla is targeted, they pull and they get the ball. They get it. When they need a first down, they are there. And I think Laporta is slightly better at that than Tesla. Maybe that's because Tesla is still young, but I would trust Laporta more than Tesla right now.
Yeah. For me, I pick Kittle here for my number 6.
Wow.
I think that he has been a very dominant force in a big part
I
of
think he's
the
on the pup list.
49ers' success. Um, I think he's getting a little bit up there, and I think he's taken a beating with the way he plays. And I think that defenses are going to key in on him more too. So I think it's going to make it more difficult for him to be productive. I think there's kind of a lot of things going against him, but I still think that he's at that level where he still warrants, you know, a ranking inside the top 10, you know, almost top 5 level still. So even though I think that maybe the trajectory is going down, I still think that that he's one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
And so that's why I've got him there.
Well, so at 5, I have Tyler Warren. So Warren, I think he's still really young, and I have him up here. Um, I do believe that he's going to be really good next year, but I think the guys I have ahead of him are going to be way better. Maybe not way better, but he's definitely going to get a lot of catches in that Colts room. There's not really any guys that stick out to me, with Pierce on the PUP list and Pittman out. There isn't really a guy that like Jones can throw to. So I do think that Warren will get a lot of targets. So who do you have at 5?
Yeah, I think that's a good spot for him, and he is on my list as well. Um, so you'll see him here coming up on mine. For me, I've got Tucker Kraft. is who I've got
Interesting.
here. I know right now he's on the injured list, the
PUP.
physically unable to perform. But I think that there are expectations for him to be ready by the start of the season. And I know the Packers have got they let some of their wide receivers go, but
They
they
got rid of
still
three of their starting receivers.
yeah, and then they still have several good ones too.
Matthew Golden's gonna take that
Um,
step up a bit.
so who do they have? So they have Watson, they have
Golden.
Reed, they have Golden. So that's three good wide receivers still. But I think with all that
I wouldn't
shuffling
say good.
around, that Kraft is one of the consistencies there.
And from what I saw of Kraft, he definitely showed up when he was
And
there.
yeah, and the way they like to play, I think he's still going to get his share of targets and stuff. So I think that he's going to continue to be productive and be a dominant force at the tight end position for the Packers.
I don't think I got much to say at four because I have Tucker Kraft there. So I do think that going into the top three, it takes a big step up. But Kraft, I'd say, is the closest to them.
Hmm.
He definitely he had good hands. Like when he's out there, he gets lots of yards. Like he can make any play into anything if he gets the ball. And I that's what I like about him. I don't like the Packers, but I respect that Tucker Kraft is good.
Yeah.
And I do rank him higher than Laporta. So I'm not biased.
Yeah, I mean that's true. When because you're reluctant to when it comes to the Packers.
Yep.
Packers. So to put him there, it's based on what you've seen, the production that
Skill.
he's shown and what he's proven. So yeah, for me, I'm going to go with Warren here, and
Yeah.
I kind of went back and forth, leaning towards putting him in third spot, but I did end up going with fourth. But it's razor thin between him and third for me. But I think that he really came on last year as a rookie, and I think with the team the Colts have, like you said, there's kind of a lack of depth at wide receiver, and that's gonna get him that many more targets. Just being one of the biggest threats in the receiving game for the team, I think that he's going to continue to be one of the league leaders in targets and catches and all of that. Just with the way the Colts have their team built, I think he's such a big part of their offense.
Yeah. So getting into our top three.
Hmm.
All right. Well, at my third spot, I have Brock Bowers. So Brock Bowers is definitely good. I just feel like the two guys ahead of him, I feel like are gonna be better and are better. But Brock Bowers, he's pretty decent. He didn't get a lot of touchdowns last year, but he's definitely a solid tight end, and that's why I put him at three.
Hmm.
If you're solid, you're not top three, and he's pretty good. Like, would I put him above these two? Maybe. I maybe rearrange it a bit, but I feel like my list is pretty solid, pretty
Yeah,
spot on.
I think there's no way he's lower than three. I think three is the lowest you can put him. So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely.
And he gets a lot of targets. Like we said with the Colts, they've got no one really there. Like who are you gonna throw to Jalen Naylor? Like it's just maybe he'll be good, but Brock Bowers is definitely gonna be the number one target for Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. And then if Mendoza gets playing time, then he'll also a lot of times rookie quarterbacks lean on their tight ends pretty heavily, so I'm sure he won't lose any targets if Mendoza is in there too. For me, you mentioned him earlier, Loveland.
Yeah,
So I think that
interesting, interesting.
he took a little while to come on last year, but I
Yeah,
think like the last maybe third of the season, he really like ramped up his production into the playoffs. I think things started clicking more for Caleb. I think it started clicking more for the whole offense and for him. I think that there was just a lot. It kind of took some time for things to gain momentum, but I think they're going to build on that, and he's going to, hit the ground running here in year two and be a real force for the Bears.
yeah.
And I think I mean, we haven't talked about the Bears yet, but I think they're going to be an exciting offense to watch, and he's going to be a key part of that.
Well, moving on to my number two spot, I have George Kittle. So you ranked him low, you ranked him lower. I do respect it. He's really old. Well, not really old, but he's getting up there, like a lot of these other guys are. But he is like not dropped at all. Like, yeah, he's injured. I don't know if he's on the PUP list right now, but I like George Kittle. I don't like the 49ers like one bit, but I do trust that he will produce a lot because he does it every season.
Yeah, and I think more people would agree with you than me. I think a lot of people really have him at the highest echelon of tight ends.
I'd say
You
he's the
know,
top three right now.
so
That's why he's up here.
he's 32, so that's my hesitation. But um, with what
31
he's
is still
shown on
kicking.
the field, there's a lot of people that still have him up there at the top. So
Yeah,
yeah, you're not way off there. For me, Bowers is my number two.
yeah,
I think that I think he really has come on and just been a dominant force in the league. I think there's a lot of years where he would be the number one guy. I think we both have the same guy at number one,
yeah.
but Bowers I think is the biggest competition for that. He's younger, he's athletic. He's got everything you want in a tight end.
And I
Uh,
think that's what's going on with the tight ends.
and I
We had a few old people, but a lot of the younger guys are coming on at the scene.
Yeah, I think that's great for the league. Really kind of diversifying the passing attacks. We see Levelin, we see Warren, and we see Bowers as three young guys that are going to carry the torch for a long time. That's one of the exciting thing about Bowers is he is young, and there's so much that we have in store that just getting to watch him. One of the few bright spots on the Raiders right now. Um, I think, Mendoza eventually could be something. I think Genti eventually could be something, but Bowers, he's already there.
Yeah,
So I think he's the biggest bright spot on the Raiders currently.
and I forgot to say that Tyler Lockett also plays for the Raiders. Now, will that be anything? No, probably not, but that is something I should have said before. Um, and then moving on to number one. So I do believe we have the same guy, unless you pull some wild card and start like being like, oh, the Panthers tight end's the goat. I have Trey McBride.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the definitive best answer. Jacoby Brissett, Carson Beck, Gardner Minshew, whoever is starting, they're throwing to him more than anybody. Michael Wilson, he's coming onto the scene, and he definitely deserves that number one wide receiver spot. But outside of him, I'm not passing to anybody else. I'm not passing to Harrison. He can't catch the ball. I don't know anyone else basically on that Cardinals offense that even wants the ball. I don't even think the O line wants to be around the ball. They're letting everybody in. So I think he's getting it, and it's basically him getting passed to, and him just versus everybody else, and he's good. He's good against it. I respect it.
Yeah, I think he is going to be the main passing
I'm
target.
better at this bias thing than you are. You ranked Kittle so low, and you ranked your Cardinals Trey McBride number one.
Yeah, but I think that the majority of people would put McBride as number one. It's rare to have a Cardinal at the top of the list. That's very true. But I think McBride,
He's a 99 overall.
given yeah, given he's got a combination of athletic skill, youth, production. Like he's put it all together, and he's in his prime right now. So yeah, I think really it's hard to argue against him. I think he is going to be the main target for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
So I think Wilson will get his share, and I haven't given up on Harrison. I think he could have a better year too. Uh,
Says the
and
unbiased Cardinals fan.
if he's the number three option, then that takes some of the pressure off.
Yeah,
But I think McBride is going to be the number one option.
obviously.
I think the Cardinals are going to be playing from behind a lot. I don't. They've got some decent defensive players, but I think they're going to be on the wrong end of the score, which leads to throwing more, right?
Yeah.
More passing, so that means passing to McBride more over and over again. And so I think that this is a guy that you could see get 120 catches and really continue to lead the league in all the stats, for tight ends. So yeah, I think there's a reason that this is one that we both agree with. And I think we were actually pretty close on just about everyone here. So that
Yeah,
was,
we only had a few
yeah, that
outside ones.
that wasn't coordinated. So that's kind of funny that it came out that way. But
I had Kelsey, you had Ferguson. That's the only
yeah,
thing we didn't have.
I think we're gonna see more of a drop off.
Honestly, I forgot Ferguson existed. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I don't know the players very well. But
But
you
yeah,
are. You love the Cowboys.
well, I don't love them as a team, but I do think their offense is entertaining, and I
Mm.
think we'll see more of that. But um, but yeah, let's close the book on that ranking. I think there is one last segment we wanted to touch on just for a couple minutes, and then we'll call it a day here. The So European football, we've kind of been following
EFA.
EFA more closely because I think the games are a little more competitive, but they had the week off.
Yeah, so they had a league bye week. Everybody off. So usually with each episode, we try and do three or more segments, and we couldn't really find a good slot. So we went down to old reliable AFLE. Now, do you call it old reliable? No, it's not very reliable, but it's here. So yeah,
When we mentioned the league, we picked Alpine Rams as the team that we wanted to root for. So they played on Saturday.
it was an expansion team, one of the new teams that joined the league that didn't exist in the ELF. But that first game, so Alpine, they got cooked by the Panthers, so 14 to 44.
Yeah, and so they lose by 30. Ooh, ugly game. Got to be the worst game of the week, right?
Nope.
No.
It's probably the best game, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. When we step back, so next game,
So the Rhine Fire or Rain Fire, I think it's Rhine.
Ryan. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
so the Rhine Fire, they won 62 to 6 against the Paris Lights.
Yeah, the Paris Lights are no Paris Musketeers.
They're both really bad. They're 2 and 6, and the other one's 3 and 5.
But yeah, this was a massacre. This was a French Revolution. Uh, Rhine 62 to 6
At
over
Paris.
Paris. Yeah, so just just a bloodbath.
Yeah.
They're completely one-sided. Tough if you're Paris. Yeah, I don't think there's probably anyone left by the end of the game to witness that one.
Well, that's obviously got to be the worst game, right?
You would hope.
Yeah. So the Vienna Vikings, the best team, now sit at 9-0, fought the 0-8 Friends Red Lions. Now you might think that's a little closer than it sounds, but no, 68 to 6. Vienna killed the already dead dog. It was horrible. I couldn't stand to watch the highlights because I felt so bad for a team I don't support.
Yeah, that's tough. Even if you're a professional, like to get beat so badly, it will probably make you question your career choices. Make you just reconsider what you're doing. Maybe you're in the wrong sport, you're in the wrong country, you're in the, you know, you went wrong somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we've covered the AFLE before. Like we did it weeks like episode 6, I believe, but that was really the best week. And the league's come synonymous with shutouts and blowouts, and it's just horrendous. Like only some games are close. Like maybe like 2 every 3 weeks. I mean, there's 2 games that are close. But then going to week 11, yeah, just week 11, it's pretty interesting. I mean, just wanted to fill it up the segment a little bit. If you guys do love the AFLE, which I'm sorry if we banter on and we talk about how trash it is, because honestly,
So
it's kind of bad.
with the discrepancy between the teams, the lack of parity, is there room for two successful European leagues, or is this a case where the two leagues should merge?
So they were one league. And then so basically they either wanted to be owned by a group of investors or all together be owned. So the AFL went like the club route, like the NFL does, and they're like, heck, we've got like 3 teams that's double it or triple it. Like I think they had 4, so they were like, okay, well let's add London, Alpine, Paris, and Friends. They had Vienna, Rhine, Wroclaw, and Berlin.
So just really a difference in philosophy on how the league and teams are run,
Yeah.
and that was the parting. So
I don't
in
think
that,
we will ever see a merge, and
yeah.
I think it's kind of disappointing, but I'm sick of hearing people say it.
So yeah, so that's something then. So hopefully then they're able to stabilize the teams and then elevate
Yeah,
those ones that are at the bottom. And one thing that Europe does that's fun in like soccer and other sports is they do games, they cross league boundaries.
yeah.
So maybe even though they're two separate leagues, maybe we'll still get to see some games where they play each other and we can kind of see how they measure up
At at the
against each
current
other.
time, I doubt it, but I would say the best team in the EFA, the um 8-0, I believe Munich Ravens, would crush the 9-0 Vienna Vikings.
You think so?
Yes, I believe that Vienna is playing in one of the weakest leagues I've ever watched.
Yeah. So
There are two good teams in the league.
yeah, that's very true.
Wroclaw just gets all the easy wins, but they lost to Rhine by like 30, and they lost to Vienna by a lot.
Yeah, so they're the only kind of team in the middle, but still a far cry from the top.
Yeah,
So I
so four teams make the playoffs. So right now, so it'd be Vienna, Rhine, Wroclaw, and then the last spot is either going to be the London Warriors at 4-4 or the Berlin Thunder at 4-4. So for week 11, they have the 2-6 Paris Lights and 0-8 Friends Red Lions. So Paris gets another win. Means nothing, but they get it. And then Alpine and Rhine fight, and then Rhine gets an easy win by like 50. And then London and Berlin fight, and I think I'll give it to Berlin on that one. They're both
so those are the
even.
two 4-4 teams.
Yeah, that'll probably be the
So
best game of the week.
so that one from the standings, that's a compelling matchup at least because it has.
London started 1-4.
But this one is going to affect how the playoff picture looks
Yeah,
for the league. So that's a big one. But yeah, I think that should be where we wrap it up here today. I think we're going to continue to work on our previews with the AFC North being
uh,
the next
yeah,
that we'll be trying to get those out here soon. I know you've got a few ideas with your history, forgotten cities of football.
yeah.
That
Forgotten football states and cities.
yeah, that you want to touch on. And we also are kind of thinking of what we want to put together for a few hot takes going into the season, what kind of wild predictions we have that might be a little different from the norm, taking a few risks there. So that'll be a fun one. And we haven't really talked college football, but I think that's something that as we're about to get into August, is only a couple weeks away. I
Yeah,
think we might start touching on a few more things,
some action.
like Ohio State, West Virginia, the MAC in general, because that's one.
That's one we can go to.
Yeah,
We don't really go to any college football games, but those were the first really games I ever went to.
yeah,
Kent State, Ohio University. Maybe
yeah.
we go to some Akron.
Yeah, so that with where we're located, Kent State, Akron, and Ohio are all pretty close by,
Yeah,
and have some entertaining games. So we'll be following those to a degree as well. But I think that'll wrap it up for us here. But like, comment, subscribe, share, all those great things. We're really pushing to increase the base here. We're very
yeah,
happy to be up to 40 and would love to see that jump up to 50 here soon. And the more interaction there is, just the more that helps us get out there, which is exactly where we want to be.
yeah. So I think that does it.
All right. Thank you, everyone.